goodguitarist.com, and in today's lesson I'm going to show you how to play Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys, which was originally written by Ed Bruce in 1976, but then a couple years later in 78 it was covered by Waylon, Jennings, and Willie Nelson, and that's the version that we're going to be going off of. This is a 3-chord song for the most part, but halfway through the tune it goes up a key, and it's the exact same song but everything's keyed up. So it goes from the key of D into the key of E. I'll show you what we're talking about later. And you don't even have to address the key change if you want to just do it in your first key. Totally up to you. Now, if you find that you need help with the basics, because this is a fairly basic song, just chords and strumming. If you need help with that, I have a ton of resources. I'll put links to them down below. There's my free ebook, my beginner's course, which is designed to just take you step by step through every little thing and kind of troubleshoot. You know, if you're finding that you're having trouble getting to where you want to be, you know, to being able to strum through a whole song, it's designed to help you with that. Anyways, we're gonna get started with the chord shapes. Our first chord is a D chord. And from there we have a G. Now when you're switching from D to G, I want you to try to keep your third finger down. See how I can just pivot off that finger? Makes it a lot easier. After the G chord, we have an A chord. And for that one, there is no trick. You know, when we're switching from G to A, you do just have to practice that over and over till it's nice and comfortable. And then from A, we go back to D. And once again, there's a little bit of a trick there. I'm on my A shape. I take off these 2 fingers, and then I can slide up my ring finger to the 3rd fret, and then place those 2 fingers back down on the D chord. You know, and vice versa. You can go back and forth like that, just sliding off your ring finger. So those are all the shapes that we need to play through the verse and the chorus, basically the first half of the song. Now, before we learn the strumming pattern, let's practice these chord shapes using downstrokes only, just counting along, starting off on our D chord, and we're counting to 3 because this song's in 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Get ready to switch to G. G. 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 4, 2, 3, A, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, D, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, D. Cool. So that is really confusing, you know, like if you're not looking at it, like I had to write this down in order to figure it out. So what I want to do right now to help you keep track of where you are in this song is we're going to write this all down. So get out a piece of paper. This is going to take like 25 seconds. We're just going to write out the chord and then how many measures we play each chord for. So take a minute, write this down. Here we have D, and we're going to do 4 measures of D. That means we're counting to 3 4 times. Like D, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. And then we move on to the G chord, and so on and so forth. In this top half, this is the verse, and then this is the chorus. This is the mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. It's that part. So take a minute, pause the video, write this down. And eventually we won't need this. You'll just, after you practice along with the song enough, you'll just know, oh, I changed to this chord when these words happen. You use the words and the phrasing to help you know when to change. But at first, counting it out and doing it like we just did with downstrokes only is going to help out a whole bunch. All right, so that's the chords and the chord order out of the way. Now let's take a look at the strumming pattern. For this one, it's really straightforward. It's, and that's just down, down, up, down, up. It's in 3. So on beat 1, it's just a downstroke. On beat 2, it's down, up. And on beat 3, it's also down, up. When you put it all together, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now if you're having trouble with that, just count it out. Go at your own pace. 1, 2, 3. You can even count with the ands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and just try to get it on a single chord over and over again. Don't worry about the switching. If the strumming's still giving you trouble, just focus on that. Either way, take some time with that, and when you're ready, we're going to practice putting the chords and the strumming together nice and slow. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. right, so that's the first half of the tune. Now, the second half is the same thing, but everything's keyed up. So our chords before were D, G, and A. And if we just go like to the next letter of the alphabet, like from D, we go to E. From G, we go to A because the musical alphabet ends at G and starts all over again. And then from A, we go to B. So now our chords are E, A, and B. And we get like the same song, but everything's just pitched up a whole step. Now, you don't have to do this. You can just stick with what you have already and you play it, you know, sing along. Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna remember like, oh, I'm pretty sure the song changes keys halfway through, unless they're super familiar with the recording. You know, people are gonna have a good time. But if you do wanna do it like the original recording, we're gonna need to learn 3 more chord shapes. First one is E. Then we have A. And when I'm switching from E to A, like if you notice in the first half when we were playing D, G, A, I played A like this. Here I'm playing it like this. And that's because I'm on my E chord. I just move these 2 fingers over once, and then I put my pinky finger down, and there you go. It's a really, really quick switch. And we're on our A chord like this. Our next chord is B7, and to play that, I take my middle finger and I move it up 1 string. I take my pinky and I move it down 1 string. And then I put my index finger in the plug the hole. That's my B7 chord. So going from A to B7, really easy switch that way. And then from B7 back to E, I just take my pinky off, and then I take these 2 fingers and I just swap them. Just like that. So they're like this, and I go like that with them. I leave my middle finger down. So B7, E. I recommend practicing those switches, you know, and being really consistent. Like that's what I do in my course, and that's why it works, is because it's training your muscle memory. You know, it's not just try it a bunch of times and hope it works out. Like try it in a really specific way and it will work out. So I recommend, you know, going through the switches like that. It might be a bit laborious, but it does make you a better guitar player. You know, if you're not worrying about the switches, you can focus on the strumming. Then eventually all that just comes together and you can focus on singing while you're playing and, you know, moving past trying really hard to strum. Anyways, we have 3 new chord shapes. They're in the exact same order. So that chart that we wrote out, you just literally replace the letter D with the letter E. Replace the letter G with A. Replace the letter A with B, and it's the exact same song. Let's just try strumming through it with the pattern. A 1, 2, 3, a 1, 2, 3. So that's it. You just glue those 2 parts together, you know, the part in D, G, and A, and then the E, A, B7 part, and you're playing through the entire song. Now, the one finishing touch that you could do that raises the challenge level quite a bit, it makes the strumming quite a bit harder, but a lot more authentic, is to strum it like this. So you see there on beat 1, I'm strumming, or I'm just picking the root note of the chord. So I'm going root, down, up, you know, so 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going, and that's the alternate bass note. For the D chord, we go like this. for G, this is our root, and I'll put up at the top R for root note, and then A for alternate bass note, because it's not the root, it's just another bass note that sounds cool. So for G, root, alternate, and then for A, root, alternate. And for E, root, alternate. Finally, B7. For B7, here's our root. And for the alternate, we have to actually move this finger there. So this one's tricky. You have to kind of follow your pick with your finger. A string, E string. You know, and I would just practice that on each chord individually a whole bunch, and eventually you'll get used to it. And this is like super useful for any kind of country song. You know, it's all, you find this all the time. You know, that's what the bass player is doing. They're going like. They'll just be playing that kind of alternate bass note thing. So just experiment with it. Don't get too hung up on it. You know, you can always just do the standard strumming pattern for this one. It sounds great. Other than that, there's not too much to it. You know, if you find that you need any extra help with this, don't forget to check out my resources. There's links to all those down below. Otherwise, have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.